Kamusta mga Mare? This is 𝐤𝐿, your host for the episode 2 of Laban Mare podcast, where we highlight the leadership of women. So women's presence in government is crucial for a fair and effective society. Their participation brings diverse perspectives to policymaking, leading to better solutions for all. Research shows increased focus on social issues like education and healthcare, alongside a more collaborative approach to governing. With women at the table, governments better reflect the population they serve, fostering trust and promoting equality. And today, we're joined by Ms. Maria Cristina Sofina G. Balmes, the Deputy Executive Director for Operations of the Philippine Commission on Women, here to walk us through women leadership in the government. With that, let us all welcome Didi Christine. Good morning po. Kamusta naman po
Hi,
kayo?
Jazz.
Nakapag-breakfast
Good
na po ba
morning.
kayo?
Yes, naka-breakfast ako. Oo. Happy National Women's Month. Mahabol pa tayo. It's the last few days before the end of March.
Yes po. Speaking of Women's Month, how did you celebrate po Women's Month since ayun nasa Philippine Commission on Women din po kayo?
Well, actually, yesterday I tried to count all the activities and events that I went to during Women's Month since March 1. So, naka-51 ako this month. Imagine, 51 in 27 days. But busy talaga kami during Women's Month and it's a yearly thing. So, hindi naman siya bago sa amin. It's just that medyo yung health, medyo nahihirapan kami talaga. So, we try to take all the vitamins and take all the rest that we can if possible.
So, 51 events po yun, right? So,
yes.
Can you give us like, ano yung pinaka-memorable out of those events in 27 days? Like, ano yung pinaka, parang super nag-struck po sa inyo?
Well, this ranges kasi from radio and TV interviews, and then we had some events. I actually even went to Vegan for an event of cooperatives in the Philippines. So that was really memorable kasi you get to see talaga mga women leaders in the cooperative sector of our society. So they are a group of women who leads cooperatives, and they share their experiences, how they started, and how the cooperative have just not empowered them, but also those who are part of their cooperatives. Also, one of the significant events that I've been to is the one that we celebrated with UN Women and SM Super Malls. This was held last March 1 at the SM North EDSA. So, nagkaroon kami ng orientation with not just the security guards, but also the tenants and the other stakeholders on the Safe Spaces Act or the RA 11313 o yung Bawal Bastos Law na tinatawag natin. So, why is this very significant? Kasi yung audience namin was about 10,000. It was hybrid kasi. So, there were people there in the venue, and there were a lot na online among the different malls of SM in the whole of the Philippines. So, maganda kasi siya kasi it will not only empower yung ating mga security guards, but also give them knowledge kung ano ba yung mga responsibilities nila as the anti-sexual harassment officers dun sa kanilang mga malls kung saan sila naka-assign. At the same time, naging aware din sila na may certain protocols pala that they have to follow as anti-sexual harassment officers or yung mga frontliners natin pagdating sa Safe Spaces Act. And the session was given by Undersecretary Benavides of the Department of Labor and Employment. So talagang makikita mo na maraming naging aware nung oras na yun lang na meron palang ganon na Safe Spaces Act. At the same time, nagkaroon nga sila ng knowledge kung paano nila gagawin at ano yung responsibilities na nakaatas sa kanila because of this law.
Okay po. So, before we start po with the questions, siguro po, para lang din sa audience, can you like give us a brief kung ano po yung like day-to-day basis nyo sa life? Like, for example, office work, tas ganito.
Okay, so Jazz, I'm a single mother for the last siguro 19 years na. And yung being a single mother and working in the government, especially sa national government agency, medyo hectic talaga siya. So yung daily life ko, flexi time kasi kami sa work. So work starts at 7. Pero bilang director, hindi kasi kami covered ng overtime. Parang we can work 24 hours a day. So kung 7 to 7 yung flexi time sa office, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I work 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. As long as may dumarating na emails, I have to respond to the emails during weekdays. Pero weekends are for my daughter, except ito ngang Women's Month na even on weekends, I do accept online and face-to-face events or invitations. So, I usually work online naman if possible kasi ngayon mas marami ng invitations na physical. But day to day, I oversee yung not only my office where I have 3 staff. I think you've met some of them na. But also the operations divisions in PCW like the Policy Development Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation Division, the Sectoral Coordination Division, yung Technical Services, Regional Development Division, Regional Coordination Division or the TSRCD. I oversight kung ano yung ginagawa nila on a day-to-day basis. And then, aside from that, we're expected to do yung lobbying sa Congress and the Senate and also to serve as resource speakers and give technical assistance not only for national government agencies, pero recently kasi we're trying to reach yung mga local government units and regional agencies natin. And then, we review documents, especially that we have a lot of documents na required from us to be submitted not only locally to the Congress and to other national government agencies na oversight like COA or Commission on Audit, the NEDA, but we also, since the Philippine Commission on Women is the agency that oversees yung implementation natin ng gender mainstreaming in the Philippines, we also submit yung requirements or documentary requirements of United Nations agencies like UNCEDO, UN Women, or yung just recently, kasi Women's Month nga, so some of our employees went to New York for the UN Commission on the Status of Women, where we submitted yung accomplishments natin in the Philippines on pushing for gender equality and women empowerment.
So, siguro po, let's start with the questions na po. Since our topic today is women leadership in the government. So, to start off, what does it mean to be a Filipino woman leader in a male-led society po?
So, being a Filipino woman leader in a very patriarchal and male-led society means challenging the norms and breaking barriers simply by taking up space and existing in a position that is typically dominated by men. But just to give you an overview of how it works in the government, actually in the government, there are more women in first and second level positions. Sa third level position ako, medyo marami pa ring women, but pagdating ng higher level positions pa, like yung mga secretaries, we know we only have now one female secretary, puro lalaki na yung mga secretaries natin. Medyo, yun nga, it's very difficult kasi mas mataas yung expectation nila on women. So before I joined Philippine Commission on Women, I was an elected government official in Batangas City, and as we all know, yung elected positions in our country, whether it be local or national level, are typically occupied by men. So this is due to our prevailing gender stereotypes on what a woman leader would be like should we be trusted with the role of serving our country in higher level positions. So I will just share some figures based on our latest data on elected officials in 2022, where female officials who were elected only comprised 23.4% or 4,224 of the overall total. Medyo malayo siya in comparison with male officials elected during that time at 13,815 or 76.6%. So this is the impact of years and years of conditioning telling us that women are weak, emotional, and indecisive, yung mga qualities that are undesirable and would presumably make us unfit to be in leadership positions. But we all know naman that that is untrue. So relative to this, it also means constantly being challenged to prove myself capable of being in similar or higher positions with male colleagues or peers. It also means having to deal with issues with my male counterparts in other agencies, which may not have to worry about while fulfilling my role as Deputy Executive Director for Operations in PCW. Kasi syempre as a woman, meron akong care responsibilities at home. And with my daughters, I've said I'm a single mother. So this means having to juggle my time for professional and personal duties and ensuring that neither of them gets left behind. So, but this same concern means having a unique and intimate perspective into being a woman and being able to advocate for women and girls in policies, programs, projects, and activities in better and more specific ways. So this means being able to bring up issues that may have otherwise been overlooked had these things been left purely at the hands and insights of men.
Ayan. So, speaking of leader in the government po, for your case or like for your personal situation, who was your main inspiration in becoming a Filipino woman leader, and why?
So prior to my position in PCW, I worked closely with Ms. Gina Lopez long before she sat as Secretary of DNR. So together, we lobbied hard to stop the construction of a 600 megawatt coal-fired power plant in Batangas City. So it all started prior to that, mga 2016. On May 2016, I, together with Greenpeace, the Philippine Movement for Climate Justice, and other local and national organizations, organized what we call Piglas Pilipinas, Piglas Batangas, Piglas Pilipinas. Ito yung march of about 10,000 people that expressed our opposition to the said coal-fired power plant. And Miss Gina was one of our trailblazers who led us during the said march. And also on February 5, 2016, I, together with Miss Gina and over 40 environmental climate change organizations, launched the Green Thumb Coalition. Ito yung coalition where we challenge yung 2016 presidential candidates to put socio-environmental issues at the heart of their electoral platform. So Ms. Gina was the leader who thought of this concept na pagkakaroon nga ng coalition and challenging the candidates. So Ms. Gina's love for our country and the environment and how she really cares for the marginalized, and her belief that if we all work together, we can solve our problem of poverty, sets the bar for me on how I should live my life as a person and how I should serve the government as a civil servant. So her principles are impeccable, and it is very hard to follow her footsteps, but every day I try to reflect on what she has done and the legacy she has left behind. That's why she is my idol or my inspiration on as a Filipino woman leader.
Ayan. Kanina nabanggit din po natin na ang dami niyo rin pong nagawang events in 27 days for this month. So, as the female Deputy Executive Director, what does the celebration of Women's Month mean to you?
Well, the annual celebration is a way to commemorate and recognize the hard work and dedication of those who came before us. All those women who started. Ang tawag namin sa kanila, mga lolas namin sa PCW. As you may already know, the celebration of the National Women's Month, yung roots niya was going back all the way to the 1900s when women's groups in the United States demonstrated and fought against low wages, lack of protective legislations, and inhumane working conditions that was present in labor or workforce participation noong 1900s. So this subsequently led to progress in women's rights, from right to suffrage, better working conditions, maternity leave, etc. And dito sa Pilipinas, specifically, Proclamation number 227 back in 1988 declared March as the Women's Role in History Month because Filipino women have made significant contributions for our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. So it's also a way to celebrate the achievements of numerous individuals, groups, and institutions that have made for the betterment of the status of Filipino women and girls and towards the quest for gender equality and women empowerment. So we have come a long way in recognizing the role of Filipinas in the social, cultural, economic, and political spheres of our country, and in turn, working to ensure that all women and girls are able to actively participate in this. At the same time, we in the PCW always like to emphasize that celebrating during the National Women's Month is not enough. So more than anything, it is a call to action and joining everyone, not only women, to realize that we cannot stop now. And the strides that we have made, while valiant and exceptional, does not mean that we can cease our efforts and call it a day. So a lot still needs to be done for us to be able to achieve a gender equal Philippines.
So, speaking of women empowerment, as the female deputy executive director, ano po ba yung women empowerment para sa inyo, and like how do you advocate it?
So women empowerment means breaking down barriers and creating an enabling environment for women to fully contribute to building a just and more equitable Philippines. So it means challenging the shackles that confine and define women, encouraging women to embrace their choices and championing their right and their autonomy to make these choices. So it means committing a vision of a gender equal Philippines where women and girls are given equitable opportunities and are able to actively engage in and reap the benefits of national growth and development and showcase our full potential free from discrimination. So how do I do that? Since I'm working with the Philippine Commission on Women every day, it's like trying to prove that women should be empowered and women has a place in society equal to that of all gender. So, yun, parang yung way of thinking ko when I was, before PCW was totally changed. Kasi now, I'm very aware. Pagdating pa lang sa language that we use, yung gender fair language, I call on the attention of those who says chairman, congressman, kasi yan yung start na parang you have to tell them so they'll be aware na, oy, para gender neutral yung position, it's not created just for men. So you should not call them congressman or chairman. It should be chairperson or congressperson or representative para mas neutral pa siya.
Ayun, thank you for that also, Didi Christine, kasi parang kahit minsan sa school, hindi rin familiar usually yung mga tao on how to address it since nasanay nga rin po na laging chairman, like laging man siya. So, siguro moving on also, what was the most significant turning point po in your life as the Deputy Executive Director, and how has it impacted your life ever since?
Well, before PCW naman, I have always been parang conscious and I kept on reading yung mga things about women's rights. Pero when I got into PCW, medyo nag-iba yung perspective ko in a way kasi nung when I was a city councilor and when I worked with NGOs, mas nasa ground kasi kami. So we constantly talk with women and on the ground. Our consultations were done directly with them. Pero nung sa PCW, iba kasi yung perspective. It's like a macro perspective talaga that you have to think of all the women at the same time. So naging iba siya. Like yung role namin to really lobby for policies on women. Nung una, sabi ko parang it won't have any impact on women kasi I'm used to working directly with them. Pero once we successfully push for the approval and the signing of Republic Act 11210 or the 105-day expanded maternity leave law and yung Safe Spaces Act nga, which is Republic Act 11313, dun ko nakita na although it will take time, kasi yung from the top to the bottom yung impact niya, medyo at least just recently, ang dami na naming naririnig that they are truly benefiting from the 105 expanded maternity leave law. And yung sa Safe Spaces Act, mas marami na yung aware of their rights and na dapat may safe space lahat, na not only inside the classrooms, not only inside the organization, but kahit sa mga streets and other public spaces or places, dapat safe space siya. Dapat yung tayong mga kababaihan, we should know of this. And we should be aware na pag when you felt na na-offend ka, kahit sabi nila joke yun, that's also, you can already file a Safe Spaces Act a violation for that person. Kasi yun yung pinoprotektuhan namin. So in a way, kahit mas malaki yung pagtingin namin in PCW, natutunan ko na to adopt that. And kahit ngayon, hindi na ako nagigilty unlike before when people say na, ay, bakit wala pala kayong direct services to women? Parang ang taas nyo naman masyado. It's not that. It's different pala yung impact ng organization namin kesa dun sa nasa local government ka, kesa nasa NGO ka.
Ayan. So, speaking of like yung mismong yung process and stuff na magpa-approve pa, ganun. Usually po yung mga nasa higher positions, usually they're lalaki. So, sa tingin niyo po, like what role do you believe men can play in advocating for and supporting for women's leadership in the government? Since, ayun, pinapakita rin naman po nila, like some government officials then support women empowerment, ganun po. So, what role do you think men can play po?
Yan, as an example nga, si Undersecretary Benavides ng Department of Labor and Employment, and as a man, nakakatuwa na siya yung mismong nagsusulong ng Safe Spaces Act. And talagang how he communicates with other men, very helpful kasi siya. Kasi if babae siguro yung nag-explain nun sa during our Safe Spaces Act orientation, iba yung pagtingin ng mga kalalakihan. So, dapat talaga mas maging informed yung ating mga kalalakihan, and we as women should take every opportunity na to have to educate them. They should also know how to educate themselves and address then yung internalized biases and stereotypes that they have nakagisingan na natin naman yon. So, there are small ways that men can begin to advocate towards this goal by addressing yung gender-insensitive language that I shared earlier, and yung misogynistic beliefs that make their way in conversations amongst you and your colleagues. Dapat i-advocate din natin and amplify na women and girls' voices in matters concerning our rights and our well-being. So sometimes it's easier na maging quiet na lang tayo, lalo na pag may nagbibiroan na mga group of men na kasama mo. Mas madali sa atin na wala na lang tayong gawin. Pero I think it's time for us to make a stand. So para makita rin nila na may mali doon sa ginawa or sa sinabi nila. So, we want to do this in a way na maging ally natin sila, maging kakampi natin sila. We need also to make use of the platform and resources na meron tayo to change and transform yung landscape. So, currently, share ko lang, the Philippine Commission on Women is working with 𝐶ED, DepEd, and TESDA para mas maging gender responsive yung curriculum natin in the basic education, sa college, at saka sa STEM, sa TVET courses natin. Kasi alam natin doon yung nagsisimula para yung mga men maging aware na wala sanang discrimination against men and women, and sana equal yung treatment and opportunities for everyone. Dapat mag-make a stand na tayo mga kababaihan. We should also recognize the privilege na meron tayo and turn it into something that could be used to empower women and girls to take up space and have their voices heard. So itong platform nyo, this is an opportunity to empower women and girls, and for men who are with us today, na isulong din yung talagang pagtingin na women should have the same opportunities as men. Lalo na sa school, dapat walang discrimination. Lalo na yung ating mga women with disabilities, yung ating pregnant women in schools, dapat hindi sila discriminate because of that. And for us to embrace this, maganda tong ginagawa nyo. So please continue to do this Laban Mare series for not only women but also for men.
To add lang po, nakuha ko rin po sa insight niya na parang yung dapat men should also be our kakampi. Kasi feel ko parang when we promote women empowerment, feeling ng mga lalaki lagi na parang we want to be superior to them or like gusto natin dapat mas angat tayo sa kanila. But no, actually, gusto lang talaga rin namin ng kakampi to actually speak, to actually para marinig lang yung mga gusto namin sabihin and to actually have the equal opportunity kung ano yung mga binibigay sa kanila ng society. So, I think that sa audience natin na ang kailangan lang namin kayo, as mga lalaki, as our kakampi in this fighting for equal rights for women. So, speaking of equal rights for women, Bibi Christine, how can we ensure that women from diverse backgrounds, including marginalized communities, have equal opportunities to participate in government leadership? Or actually, kahit have equal opportunities to participate in society, like kahit education, politics, mga ganun po.
Sige, so achieving inclusive participation, one that ensures that even those, yung mga na-mention nga ko nga kanina nasa marginalized sectors of our society, have equal opportunities in becoming leaders in the government and any position in our society, which requires dismantling systemic barriers. So this means we must first create an environment that deconstructs the discriminatory practices and attitudes that prevail across all spheres of life. So not only to women and girls, but especially to those with intersecting identities with other vulnerable groups such as yung women with disabilities, impoverished women, indigenous women, Muslim women, elderly women, and those with diverse sexual orientations, identities, and expressions, or yung tinatawag natin na 𝐲𝐮. So, also, we should strengthen gender mainstreaming for government agencies. Ito, mainly trabaho ng PCW to. At the local level and national level, and integrating gender analysis into the designing, implementation, and monitoring of policies, programs, projects, and activities. Bakit ito mahalaga? Kasi pag hindi tayo nag-gender analysis, hindi nakikita ng mga naggagawa ng program, nagpaplano ng program or nag-i-implement nito na iba kasi yung impact sa babae at iba rin yung impact sa mga lalaki. So kailangan talaga, we have tools na sa PCW that we provide national government agencies and local government units to check this para masiguro na na-consider, lalo na yung sa marginalized sector natin, kung ano yung impact ng isang project o program. So also, yung funding projects dedicated to addressing the imbalance of resources for women and girls. And lastly, yung supporting legislations that address the gender needs of women and girls in different sectors. Thus, yung creating legal frameworks that serve as backbone of our society, not only in protecting marginalized groups, but also in changing the perception of the society in what they can and cannot do. So laws not only reflect the values and norms of a society, but they also have the power to shift and shape our beliefs and norms by providing more insight on these subjects.
So, what are your insights naman po on how can we better celebrate and honor the achievements of women leaders throughout the years?
Well, we can do so by not forgetting that where we are right now and the achievements that we have made throughout the years were forged through the sacrifice and hard work of those who came before us. Tawagan namin mga lolas. From trailblazers who overcame the preconceived notions of their then society, making their mark and participating in their respective male-dominated fields. Those who continue to advocate for gender equality and women empowerment in their various capacities. Those who persevered and became our exemplars role models showing us that transforming the landscape, while difficult, is not impossible. So it is up to us to commemorate and honor their contributions, always remembering to look back on the wisdom that their past and individual stories taught us. Siguro, panoodin nyo yung All-Women National Anthem ng Philippine Commission on Women. Nandun lahat, yung mga leaders natin na who really fought hard para makarating tayo kung saan tayo nandun ngayon. So, and of course, more importantly, we can celebrate and honor the achievements of women leaders throughout the years by building upon what they have accomplished and channeling this knowledge into relentless energy that fuels us to keep going.
So looking ahead, Didi Christine, what do you envision as the future of women's leadership in the government? And what steps do you think are necessary to achieve that vision?
So ensuring that women are represented in leadership roles and decision-making positions in the future means investing in their entire life cycle. So this means supporting their leadership participation from childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, and adulthood. So this means addressing the gaps that lead to them falling through the cracks and unable to take up these spaces once they become adults. It is up to us to collectively ensure that women from childhood to adulthood are supported and that the very root of the limitations that hinder their ability to full potential are deliberately and adequately addressed. Thus, yung shinare ko nga kanina na efforts namin with having a more gender-responsive curriculum. So we need to also ensure that education is made accessible and potential issues such as care responsibilities are distributed, as these tend to affect girls' ability to pursue higher education with duties in their household, caring for yung mga kapatid nila, yung elderly family members nila, and performing chores being entrusted to them from a very young age. So we must also ensure that financial services and programs are made available to all women and girls without discriminatory processes or practices hindering them. So while economic empowerment is not the only or final goal, its impact on other aspects of women and girls' lives and its power to affect change by creating opportunities cannot be neglected or disregarded. In addition, we must ensure that women are able to safely participate in decision-making discussions. Harassment and abuse on the basis of our gender are critical constraints that have been reported to push women out of certain spaces. And for us to ensure their full participation, we cannot leave this out of the discussion. So these days, we have seen more and more girls taking up leadership roles, voicing out their concerns, and actively participating in transforming the current society in their own ways. So now, it is our responsibility to double down and back their efforts in dismantling beliefs that hinder women's participation, not only in government leadership, but in leadership as a whole.
Ayan. I'll share a few insights lang din na parang sabi niya rin po kanina na fighting for women empowerment may be a difficult path, but it's not impossible. And actually, we can see it right now sa environment ngayon. Like, for example, sa Student Council ng San Beda, the top 3 positions in the council are women. So, it's seen talaga na it's not impossible to fight for it. But yes, it's a difficult path. Pero hindi siya, kaya natin siyang gawin. Kaya natin ipakita actually that women should have equal rights as compared to men. So, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. It's been inspiring to hear Didi Christine as she shared her journey and perspective on human leadership and civic service. She has truly served us a huge inspiration. Once again, thank you to Didi Christine for sharing your very valuable insights. Siguro last na lang po, do you have any last words for our audience that you want to part to them before we end?
Well, thank you, Jazz. Thank you for this opportunity for PCW, not just for me to share my insights and our insights and the work that we do. I hope, because it's already the end of Women's Month, as I have said earlier, hindi natatapos sa Women's Month yung ating responsibility and our dedication to really push for gender equality and women empowerment. Let us all work together. Let us make men our allies let us make sure that we try to really stand up for what we believe in and to really push na magkaroon ng equal opportunities for everyone. So again, happy National Women's Month to all, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Once again, as this episode ends, we would like to remind you to be the catalyst for change and empower each and every woman in our lives. With that, we thank you for following along Laban Mare, an 𝐷𝐷MA Engage-led event, and we'll see you all again very soon. Once again, thank you, Didi Christine.
Thank you.